Jesus hanging on the cross. David had seen Jesus hanging on the cross. And what he was writing as if it were Jesus writing through him. And it says in Psalms 22:14, "For I am poured out like water. All my bones are broken and out of joint. My heart is melted within me." As an offering for us, Jesus was broken. He was poured out. Everything he had, he poured out his love for us. As an offering to him, we must pour our love out and be broken before him. Same thing he does, we are to do. He wants us to lavish him with everything that we have. He wants us to be so over our heads in love with him. He wants us to just be willing to jump in that river and go wherever it is that he wants to take us. Every single one of us have control issues. If we didn't, we weren't be human. The thing is learning how to give that part of the control over to God and allowing ourselves to get in that river and allowing that river to take us wherever it may be, even if we're completely uncomfortable with everything going on, to understand it's okay because I'm right in the middle of where God has me to go. This is the place that we have to be. This is the place that God is calling each and every one of us to be. Over our heads in love. Over our heads in worship.
Yes.
Not being able to get enough of his presence. Not allowing the beavers in life to come and build a dam and dam something up in our river. We need to allow those things to constantly be cleansed within us. Because hurt people hurt people. If you allow God to heal you, heal people, heal people.
Wow. Amen. Wow.
It's in those areas that God has healed you, that God will open up the door, and those very same wounds that were wounds to you, God will open up the door, and you'll realize that the very same people that are coming in your river, that you come in contact with down that river, are the very same people that need what you have. They need the word that you have for them because you know exactly what they feel like. You know exactly what it is, and it's not until you have hit that place of surrender that God will be able to take you to be able to heal your land. He'll heal your land, all right, but guess how he's going to do it? Wherever the river goes. Wherever that river goes, he's going to heal your land. Wherever that river flows is cleansing. I was not going to tell it, and with this I'll close. But I kind of keep getting bothered by it. Back whenever I first came to the Lord at 25, I was pretty messed up. I was probably about 95 pounds, patient weight complexion, dabbling in drugs, and quite a few other things. I didn't think, I got hurt real bad as a teenager in church from religious people, and I didn't really want to step foot back in another church because I was like, I find more love out here on the outside than what I did in there. And so I told him, I said, if you could actually show me a church that'll accept me and love me for who I am, I'll go. But until then, don't bother me. And because I honestly thought that was my out, because there was no such thing. I mean, I really, in my heart of hearts, thought that there was no such thing as a church that would not judge me. Well, then I heard my sister got invited to church a few weeks before that, and my sister I just ran into her. I mean, it was the funniest thing. It was a God thing. She had just started dabbling and getting about knee deep in her little river. And she told me, she said, this preacher's neat, man. He's got tattoo sleeves all the way up, and he was raising them up in the air, and he was crying. And he said, just send them to me. I love them. I went, what? Just send them to me. I love them. He said that, and about that time, it was like God going, hey, there's your place. And I went, I'm not ready. Took off out the back door, went outside, started crying my eyes out. No, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. You told me. You told me that if you could find a place that you could go. All right, I'll go. I'll take my kids, but I'm not ready. I didn't last 2 weeks. I ran to the altar, middle of the sermon, and ran to the altar and got saved. Threw everything down that had been holding me back. That night got filled with the Holy Ghost. I mean, that quick, boom, boom. A few weeks later, I was praying, and God gave me the vision of the day I got saved. And whenever I look at people who are hurting and seem so drugged down by sin, all I can think of is this vision that God gave me of my own salvation. I was crawling down this thin, just rocky path. It was so thin, and I was just barely grasping on for dear life. At the point that I came to God, I was at the point of suicide. I was trying to find a way that I could kill myself, let my ex-husband find me, but not my kids. I was at this place. I was at my end. Life no longer meant anything to me. All it brought me was just heartache and pain. I avoided my parents because I knew that they would just be completely ashamed of me being 90 pounds and look horrible. I didn't want them to see me and be ashamed of me, so I avoided my parents. I avoided my sister. I avoided anyone in my family that I knew would. I did not want to be a disappointment to them because I was a disappointment to myself. But I see myself barely crawling. I mean, I was barely making it. I was just grasping with everything I had to make it forward. And I had these huge black leeches. I mean, they were like this. And they were just hanging all over me, sucking the very life out of me. Everything about it was just sucking everything I had out of me. And I could just see myself just withering as they were sucking. And I was crawling. And finally I hit this place. And I reached my hand up and I said, Jesus, help me. And at that very moment that I did that, 3 angels appeared. And at the point that the 3 angels appeared, the 2 held me up. And here I am. I mean, they just horrible looking. One would pull off the leech and would cast it down on the ground, and the other one that was standing there would take the sword and would slice it apart. And a minute it would disappear. They continued doing this until they were all off of me. The things that have been sucking the very life out of me. I had these red marks, like you could picture, with leeches being all over you. I had these red marks all over my body. I still had the wounds that were there. 2 of the angels took me down into the river. And as they took me down the river and they began to just bring the water up over my wounds and began to wash me, all the wounds started disappearing instantly. They brought me up out of the river, and the minute that they brought me up out of the river, what was once this shriveled up, sick, gaunt-looking person had this bright, shining face, had life. They came upon me at that very moment, and the other angel came and brought this big white robe, placed it around me, and they all walked right there beside me and walked me up the path. And I was walking the 3 angels. They had put back on me the robe of righteousness. They had cleansed my wounds, and they had put back on me the robe of righteousness. We are to be that river.
Yes.
We are to be that river.
Yes.
We are to be able to drag people up. We are the ones that will cleanse their wounds.
Amen.
God will use us to cleanse their wounds. We are to have that river everywhere we go. It is a complete necessity for us to have the river to heal our land. Do you feel like you've been dammed up? Do you feel like you just want to get somewhere in the river? Just come up front and worship. Just come up front and worship. There's no magical prayer. Nothing. Just worship. Get in the river and go wherever it takes you. hope you got something out of it, because I know I did. God will take you to places that you never imagined. He's just now showing me. I'm not there yet, but He's starting to show me as much as I can handle at one time. But just trust. Get in over your head and go wherever the river flows.
We're just going to stand and we're just going to worship this song, and then we'll close out and go to lunch. I just feel like we just need to worship for a minute to this song. No need of leaving or waiting till the end of it. Don't have a need, you're welcome to come on. And it flows from a Emmanuel's veins. Oh, it came and it healed me again, and refreshed me again, and washed my sins away. And I will rejoice, and be glad. Praise you, Jesus. I don't know why, but while they're getting the food ready, I just want to, y'all sit down. I just want to give a quick testimony, real quick. I think they already got the food ready, but just in case, I want to share something with you guys and maybe it will lift you up. I have an aunt that we have been praying for. They called me.
She had surgery